Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to write a social story using Sofa. In this video we will be going through writing social stories on Sofa. We will also see how easy it is to read a story using Sofa. Using Sofa is relatively easy. After launching the application on your device, select the adult mode to write a story. Remember that through the adult mode you will be able to manage the application. After you log in, you will be taken to the home screen. To write a story using Sofa, start by selecting the Create a Story option. This will take you to a menu where you will be invited to choose between having the story public or private. Public means that your story can go to a library and be shared with other people who can use and adapt it. If you choose this option, do not include identifiable details in your story. If you choose private, your story will not be shared with other people. After making your selection, you will be transferred to the Create a New Story menu. Here you are required to give a title to the story which you are about to create. You are also required to select the target audience of the story in terms of the topic of the story, age range of the child, and level of understanding of the child. You will also be able to include an image for your title page. The title for the story which I am writing is Waiting to Ask the Teacher a Question. As you can see, I am writing the title and moving on to completing the other story details. The topic selected is school, as this story is related to behavior in the classroom. The age range is for children 5 to 10 years. The child which I have in mind is able to communicate and understand using simple sentences. The reason for including these details is for the story to be stored in its specific category for other users to see. This occurs when you select whether or not you want the story to be public or private. To add an image on the story's title page, select the Add an Image icon, which is highlighted here. Select whether you would like to upload an image from the smartphone's gallery, whether you would like to take a picture, or whether you would like to browse the available image gallery. I will select the My Gallery option to upload an image from the smartphone's gallery. Here I have searched for images on Google using my smartphone's browser, which I then saved to my device. As you can see, I am selecting an image that is adequate for the story. This is the title page for our new story. Always remember to select Save. This way you will not lose any of your changes. Now you can start adding pages to your story. Select the Add a New Page option. Include your text for the very first page here. As you can see, you have the option to add an image. This is highly recommended, especially for children who are minimally verbal. In this particular example, I will be adding images after I have completed the whole text of the story. You will be seeing this process in the latter part of this video. Finally, after you would have completed all the information of this page, always remember to save your changes. This way you will be sure not to lose any of your work. Now I will be completing the story by adding more pages. In this case, you have to select the Add a New Page option. You should have a separate page for each sentence or phrase of your story. Input the second line of your story in the available space. Repeat the process I have just gone through and again press Save. For this tutorial, I will be writing a whole story from start to finish. The title of this story is Waiting to Ask the Teacher a Question. This will be the whole text of my story. Pause the video here if you would like to have a look at the structure of this particular story. Each line of this story will be added on a separate page on Sofa. For more information on how to create a social story, you can visit sofa-app.org. The whole process of adding pages to the story will be quickly displayed here and fast forward. When you finish writing your story, you can still go back to check the text and edit the whole story. As you will be seeing, I will be going through what I wrote and check for spelling errors. To edit text from one page, I am selecting the three dots at the end of each page. Then I select the Edit option. This will take me back to that page which I would like to edit. I can repeat this process as many times as I would like to ensure that the story is as I want it. As you can see here, I am editing some of my errors. Always remember to save your changes. When I press save, this screen will indicate that the story is actually saving. Now you can add images to each page of your story. You can add one image to each page. So if you have 10 pages, you can have up to 10 images. To add images, select your story by first selecting the My Stories icon on the home screen. Select My Stories from the top, then select the story you want to add pictures to. Tap on the story and then tap on Edit. Now tap on the three dots at the end of the page you want to add an image to. Select Edit. Tap on the image icon, then select one of the three options available. These options are Gallery, Take a Photo, and Image Library. I have selected the My Gallery option so that I will use an image from my smartphone gallery. You may also select an image from the pre-existing library provided by SOFA. You may also choose to take a photo using your smartphone's camera. This will be especially useful to introduce a child to a new school or new uniform, where the image needs to be precise. Repeat this process to add an image to each of your pages. Top tip: I like to keep a blank white image in my gallery. I do this just in case I want to have one page without an image. Having a plain white page instead of an image could be less distracting for a child than having no image sign on the story page. Now you are going to see the whole process of including images to my story in fast forward. Always remember to save the changes you made to your story. Now I need to assign the story that I have just created to a child profile. There is a whole tutorial on how to assign the story. Please refer to it for further details on this process. Remember that when assigning a story, you will always be asked to rate closeness to goal. Now let us see how the story looks by selecting the Go to Child Login and Read Story option. When selecting this option, you will be directed to the Child Mode login screen. Log in to the child mode by inputting the username and password allocated to that specific child. Now find and select the story we have just created, waiting to ask the teacher a question. After selecting the story, you will be prompted to choose a layout. Well, this is what is happening in this particular case, but I am being given this option here as I have selected the Let the Child Choose in the Story Format option in the child's profile. This is how the story will look like in child mode. That is when the child is reading the story. In this case, I have chosen the book story format.
I like going to school and learning different things.
As you can hear, if the child selects the listen button, the story will be read out to him.
I like learning maths. I like learning about history. I also like learning about geography. When in class, I have lots of questions to ask.
As you can also see, the child can use the green arrows to navigate through the storybook.
It is important to ask questions. When I have a question, I can ask my teacher. When I have a question, I will put up my hand. I will wait for the teacher to see my hand. If the teacher is helping someone else, I will wait patiently and quietly. I will try to do good waiting. It is okay to wait. When the teacher says that it is my turn, I will ask my question. Waiting quietly shows that I respect the teacher. If I do good waiting, the teacher will be pleased. The teacher will try her best to answer my question. The end.
When the whole story is finished, the child will be invited to rate the story he or she have just read. This could be easy for some children, whilst other children would require some support.
What did you think of the story?
Next, the child will be presented with a couple of questions to check his or her comprehension. The objective here is to ensure that the child has really understood the story in question.
Choose the right missing word.
Selecting the speaker icon will automatically have the words read out.
I like going to school. Learning different things. Good question. And I like going to school. Learning different things.
If the teacher is helping someone, I will wait patiently and quietly.
Good. Maths. Else.
If the child selects the wrong answer, the selection will turn red.
It is okay to.
Questions. Like. Wait.
If the child selects the right answer, the word will turn green. At the end of the comprehension, the score the child obtained will be displayed. After having read the story in child mode, the next time you log into the adult mode, you will be presented with a notification. This is to remind you to update the closeness to goal rating at each administration of a story. This is how it will look like. You will see a red notification at the top right corner of your screen. Clicking on it will take you to the Review Story screen. The Likert scale at the bottom will indicate the current closeness to goal. Select a number and submit. The graph on the top will also enable you to monitor progress. This leads us to the end of this tutorial. Goodbye.